Hey, sports porchers! It's your hockey Jesus, and I'm back with some analysis of the Four Nations Faceoff. Well, if you know me, I'm your hockey Jesus. I usually am pontificating about Pittsburgh Penguins, all things Pittsburgh Penguins, but as the break is among us, I thought it would be fun to give you my analysis of the Four Nations tournament so far. It is not disappointed. It absolutely is worth the hype. I love how the NHL has done such a great job at marketing this. The city of Montreal has done a fantastic way of just bringing all fans in, and good for them. The kind of the politics behind the Canada and the United States. I think that's good for the sport of hockey. Hockey needs to stay sports. Let's keep the politics that because now the games are over in Montreal. Let me give you my analysis of what's going on. So opening night, just unbelievable what they did at the beginning there when they brought out just the two teams who were playing, Sweden and Canada, but they brought out all the superstars for all the nations, including Timu Solani. But uh, when they brought out Mario Lemieux, the crowd just gave him a 2-minute standing ovation. I hope that as a Pittsburgh Penguins fan, I know I truly appreciate what he has done for the game of hockey and certainly for the city of Pittsburgh. And just to see that with Canadian fans, it was just something special. And Sid being there to take the whatever they had, the banner from Sid, which they gave to other teams as they would play. I just thought that was just a special moment for hockey, definitely for the Pittsburgh Penguins organization. I hope that FSG is absolutely paying attention to that. They should absolutely know how important Mario Lemieux is to the game of the NHL and hockey and Pittsburgh, and they really need to bring that guy back into the mix. I just think that was incredible. I was not expecting that. That was really special. And as it went in the first minute of the game, Sidney Crosby, Connor McDavid, and Nathan McKinnon certainly did not disappoint on that power play. They came out and really took it to the Swedes early, but good for Sweden to come back. Canada did win in overtime. Sidney Crosby, just incredible overtime prowess. It looked like Canada was on their way to a good tournament. Although the Swedes, that was a good point because remember, the point totals go 3 if you win in regulation. So they actually took a point away from Canada by doing that, coming back in the third. And then that was Wednesday night. Then Friday night, USA was playing against Finland. Honestly, I thought that the way the USA played was pretty damn boring. And, knowing Sully and knowing his game well, I thought I would see more back and forth. And honestly, what I saw was a torch system. I saw a John Tortorella system of, mucking up the good scores on Finland, although there's not very many. Basically running a checking game, wearing down the team, and then taking over in the third. It's effective. Don't get me wrong. Tortorella really knows how to run that system, and it worked. I mean, it was close going into the third, and then after the first 5 minutes of the third, it was all over, and USA just put the pedal to the metal and won 6-1. But it's surprising to me that Sully would let Torch run his system like that. So yeah, that was just a little bit of a surprise to me. And then on the Saturday games. That afternoon game between Finland and Sweden was, I think, the best game of the series. I know there were some better highlights in other games, absolutely, and we'll get to that, especially in the USA-Canada game. And certainly that first goal by Sid in the Sweden game. But I think overall is a game. I think that Finland-Sweden game, back and forth, Finland, not losing sight of scoring and tying the game against Sweden. And Granlund getting that overtime winner everybody was down on the goalie for letting that one get through. But honestly, I thought Granlund had a really nice shot right through the 5-hole. I didn't think that was something that he should have been considered to save, to be honest with you. And Mikael Granlund, wow. I guess Dallas fans, you're probably pretty excited about getting him now, seeing him play for Finland. But boy, I tell you, when he was a Pittsburgh Penguin, he was awful. He was horrible. He was terrible. He was maybe the worst player. And he's one of the reasons why we have Karlsson right now, Erik Karlsson, who actually is having a pretty good tournament by his standards. He looks good playing for the Swedes. Surprising, because I'm actually very happy about him playing well. I thought Raquel was playing well too, but as it turns out, he doesn't have any points. I thought he did have some points in that first game against Canada. He was on the ice for a lot of those, but guess he didn't factor in any of the secondary assists. But Karlsson, he does have a few points, and I'm hoping other teams are taking notice of Erik Karlsson's ability to score like he does. And I think maybe it's just the system he's playing in. Maybe we're asking him to play too much defense and not allowing him to be who he really is, which is a winger, honestly. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens between now and the trade deadline to see if Karlsson has turned some heads or if he's just too expensive. His $10 million contract is the problem. That's the big problem with Erik Karlsson and playing for the Pittsburgh Penguins and getting him to move, because I don't think the Penguins can afford to keep any of his salary. Let's get to the highlight game of these tournaments. That was the USA-Canada game last night. Oh, my God. If you missed the first 9 seconds, you missed a lot. And what happened was there were 3 fights in 9 seconds. 2, I think, were staged. I'm going to have a little video of Brady Tkachuk talking about that, because I think it's insightful. And right off the bat, Matthew Tkachuk dropped the gloves, and that was it. You know, they went at it, and the next face-off, Brady Tkachuk did the same thing with Sam Bennett, and then about 6 seconds later, well, I think it was 4 or 5 seconds later, JT Miller runs into Colton Parayko and just drops him, and Parayko just manhandled JT Miller. I think that this was planned all along. Let's bring in Brady Tkachuk so he can actually talk about what this is. Emily Kaplan interviewing him after the end of the first period. If you missed it, I think it's insightful to see why that actually went along.
You and your brother Matthew fight before this game got even started. What's the backstory? How did this develop?
You know what? I think it just happened pretty organically. Matthew said he wanted to go first, and yeah, just happened. And
did you hear that? I think that's absolutely hilarious. Brady Tkachuk said, "Oh, I think it happened naturally," and then he said, "Well, Matthew wanted to go first." These guys definitely knew what they were doing. At least the Tkachuk brothers. Remember, their dad fought Claude Lemieux in the 1996 games, and that was a heavyweight fight, because it was kind of the opposite in the sense that Canada was just leaning heavy on a more talented USA team, and they just and Tkachuk, basically their daddy, said, no more. I'm going to grab Claude Lemieux and I'm going to punch him. And Lemieux held his own, honestly, but Tkachuk was definitely the winner of that fight. And I think the boys just wanted to show their daddy what they could do, and they knew what they were doing. They grabbed him, and let's just finish the rest of the interview.
You know what? It's over and done with now. Now it's an opportunity to win the game here.
When did Matthew say that?
You know what? It's right when we found out the starting lineup. He said he wanted a piece of him, and then coordinated with Benny there, and yeah, and then Millsy, finished off with a big boy 1-2.
So we're all watching that, and it's insane. How do you manage your emotions on a start like?
Yeah, I think I don't need to go for the rest of that interview, but you can see, you heard him say when he saw what the starting lineups was going to be, all he had to do was grab somebody who was going to fight. And and that was the easy part after that. So I truly believe that this was something that those guys had planned, and you know what? It brought the crowd right into things. I mean, the crowd just jumped in everything after that. It was pretty exciting. Personally, as a hockey fan, I don't like the stage fighting, but I guess I can see it in a setting like this where it's a tournament and it's kind of a made up tournament where you're going to have some entertainment value you're going to have to bring to the game that normally wouldn't be part of the game. And Sully doesn't like that at all. He doesn't like the dropping of the gloves. He thinks that stage fight stuff is garbage. So I think that was all torts and letting the Tkachuk brothers do what they did. I think the JT Miller thing just was ancillary. He saw an opportunity and he went right for Parayko and dropped the gloves immediately. Hey, but Canada ended up losing that game. They got the first goal. Wow, that was just a special goal by Connor McDavid coming right down the middle, skating it over 23 miles per hour, and just roofs it on the backhand. Wow. The Canadian team is 100% more talented. Between him and Sid and McKinnon, I just think they're a little top-heavy, and not having the right goalie, oh, man, Binnington I just don't think is the right goalie for that team, but they don't really have one. So he's probably the best they could do. Yeah, but I just think that after that first goal by Canada, they were soaring high, and after that, you know, honestly, it just came down to the USA just kind of chipping back and checking hard and getting back into it by the time the third period came around. And Jake Gensel's been incredible. Let's talk about some of the scoring that's been going on. That puts by the way, that puts Canada on the brink, but it puts USA in the final game for sure. And so the Canada doesn't really Canada has to show up. Let's just talk about the scenarios before I get to the scores. So the scenarios are this: Sweden plays against Canada in the afternoon tomorrow. That's Monday afternoon. If Sweden, they must. I'm sorry. Canada plays Finland. What am I talking about? Canada plays Finland in the afternoon game. If Canada goes to overtime, if the Canadian-Finland games goes to overtime, then Sweden's in. That's it. All they have to do is win, I believe, and they're going to be in. So that's a big thing. That's a big thing right there. If Canada and Sweden go to overtime, then Sweden win in regulation. Means that Sweden will take the rematch versus the USA on Thursday night. USA doesn't have anything to play for. Sweden's got to beat the USA in regulation. That's the bottom line. But if Canada wins or if Finland wins in regulations, then they're the ones who are going to play in the game, and that makes the Sweden USA game really a no game. There's nothing to play for in that game. I think either way, I think you'll see Ottinger being a goal for the USA on Monday night. And I don't know. I really don't know how it's going to go. I think Canada's going to win. I think they'll beat Finland. Will they win in overtime or will they win in regulation? I don't know, but I have a feeling Canada. It's inevitable that Canada and USA is going to play. And that game is not until Thursday night. And then they kick off the NHL season next Saturday. So that'll be the Four Nations. As far as the point scores, let's get to those. There are 2 players with 4 points in this in this tournament so far. And yes, our former left winger for Sidney Crosby, Jake Guentzel, is leading with 4 points and 3 goals. And if you know the other ones, say it out loud. I bet if you're a Columbus Blue Jackets fan, you know it. That's right. It's Zach Werenski, the defensive guy for Columbus. He's having a hell of a year. And good for him. He's having a great tournament, so he's keeping it going. And I think it's been good. I think those 2 guys definitely are the guys who I would say are the top tier. As far as the second tier scores, there are 5 players with 3 points. That's 4 USA players, including Matt Tkachuk, and 1 Canadian. That's our friend Sidney Crosby. That's right. He's leading the Canadians with 3 points. 3 apples, by the way. He doesn't have a goal. That makes sense for Sid. I'm surprised he doesn't have a power play goal, to be honest with you, but he likes to dish it out. So he's feeding his buddy Nate for sure. And I just think it's inevitable that you're going to see a USA Canada final. I'll give a little bit more insight tomorrow night when I'm on the porch with the boys, but that's my thoughts so far. I think this tourney has been a complete win. And if you've been watching and you've been watching the commercials in between, you know what they've been bringing out. That's right. That's right. The USA, the Olympics that are going to be played next year. The NHL guys are going to be playing in it. So they're really trying to push the NHL in a more international fashion. Hey, I've got my Quebec jersey on. I love this jersey. I think Quebec needs to be back in the NHL. I love their jerseys. I love the way their team is. Passionate fans up there. They need to get a team. Let's go. Come on, NHL. Let's get Quebec back in the mix. The Nordiques, just a fantastic franchise. Let's get them back in the NHL. How about it? Okay, that's it for me, your Hockey Jesus. If you like what you hear here, smash the subscribe button. I'm more of a Pittsburgh Penguins fan, but I'm gonna tell it like it is. I love hockey, so I can't pass up the opportunity to talk about the Four Nations Faceoff. So that's it. I'm out. I will catch you in the next one. Till then, be good. Enjoy the hockey.